Hi, my name is Nathan, and today we're going to do a comic book review of What's the Furthest Place From Here, issue number 6, brought to you by RatedComics. Let's get to it. We begin this issue with the Academy in the spinning flying saucer ride at the carnival. I personally liked that ride as a kid only because every time I went on it, it was with the girl that I liked and I was trying to get with as a kid. Oh, you know what? Don't judge me, viewer. Even as a kid, I was just still trying to function and get a little kissy, you know? The reason the Academy is on the spinner riding flying saucer ride is part of the judgment from the previous issue. Mallory hurls a little bit as Oberon is standing up like a gangster with his arms crossed, like this doesn't faze him. As Mallory's vomit makes its way towards Prufrock, Alabama asks him how he knew about Sid's map. Sid, from issue number 1, even though we haven't seen her presence or lack of presence, is still felt throughout the issue. Even though Prufrock tells her that Sid told him about it, he informed Alabama about it, but Alabama feels like it was a small breach of trust as to the timing of Prufrock informing her about it. The ride is over as Mallory's vomit lands on his face and it's time for their judgment. The Academy all make their way towards the carnival as Judgment Day begins. Or let's call it Judgment Night, Judgment Night, Judgment Night, the crowd chants. If teenagers and kids had a trial system without supervision, this is very probable way on how it would be. At a carnival without a fair trial, the writers do a great job setting the stage for this. Before we get into it, I gotta just mention that when one of the kids from the Pigman gang asked Mallory to give back their mask, before she and her Academy gets killed, her response is just what a teenager would say, right? Just kidding, just joking. Anyways, joking aside, so how the trial works and how they set the stage is the clown, who I imagine is the leader of the whole thing or something. First, he calls a young lad from the royalty gang, and he is accused of entering a home without permission. The kid name is Gus, and he denies doing any such action. The crowd calls him a liar, and the verdict is in. He is guilty. Like I said, it's probably how kids would do a trial without any adult supervision. Let the punishment for his alleged crime begin. Prufrock is asked what happens now. He believes nothing is just all for show. Show my ass, this kid gets loaded into the cannon and shot straight up through the tent. What a way to set the stage. So when he, the clown who he and the crowd are clearly ain't clowning around at all, call the Academy to the stage for their judgment, remember, this was arranged by Alabama and the boys in blue from the previous issue. Prufrock is like, let's get the F out of here. Alabama's like, yo, chill, there is a plan of all this. I got this. I really do like Alabama as their leader. Prufrock is like, hell no, they're gonna kill us and we gotta make a run for it. Alabama has no choice but to follow and run with them. This is kind of funny, and it's just kids being kids in a post-apocalyptic world with no adults. And I really hope Netflix or Amazon Prime or any other major network is watching, because this has to be made into a Netflix show or a film or something. I believe it has that kind of potential. You heard me say it first. The crowd is obviously booing him because judgment needs to be served. The Academy is stopped by the boys in blue waiting outside the tent. Everything okay here, Alabama, says their leader. Alabama responds with, yeah, fine. Why? What else is she supposed to say? The clown leader wanting to serve up some judgment comes from behind him. The boys in blue tell him with his hands on his hip, you know, the power position kind of posture, right? That they'll take it from here. That's not how it works. They're on our territory, says the kid clown. I don't know his name, and I imagine it was done that way on purpose, or I just missed his name. The kid in blue tells him, maybe we'll take it up to the stranger and explain how you stabbed the boy without trial. Or I'm sure they'll love to hear about a kid you burnt alive at the lake. He pauses and he knows he is cornered. He lets the boys in blue take it from there and ends the show. I hope in the second story arc we get to know more about the strangers and how the world came to this. I love the allure, I love the mystery. Even though the strangers are eerie and mysterious, they serve a role on where children go and how rules are enforced. Alabama thanks him and he tells her don't thank him yet. The piggies came outside and tell the boys in blue that they want their mask back. Mallory doesn't want to give it back, and her response is all right there. Do it, Mallory, says Alabama, and she drops their pig mask on the ground. Now you have to pay them back, says the leader of the blue. Despite Alabama believing they have nothing to pay back with, he tells her, you kind of do though, you're gods. The team doesn't want to give that up. It's not gods or God how you would think of it. They took items from the bank, the most powerful house they kidnapped the kid from. The same kid, you know, Meryl. This is from issue number 2. This is the only way to make things right. But where is Meryl? I haven't seen him in this issue yet. Alabama's team look at her like, you got to do something about this. There's got to be something else. She thinks about it for a quick minute and tells the other kids, just do it. They're no good to us if we're dead, because these kids will end them. The kids gave back what they stole, or their music collection / records from what it seems. Now for the other matter at hand. The deal that Alabama made with the boy in blue from the previous issue. It's time to find out where everyone goes. Split up the academy to different gangs. Prufrock can't believe it and thinks we'll just get a new house, easy peasy, because their house burned down. That's why they're on the run. Alabama's answer gives us more insight. You think the strangers are just gonna give us a new house now? This is the only way we get to live. By the order of the Blue Boys, the former House Academy will now be split up for adoption. Each house will select one member, and after they've selected their member, grab your stuff, the carnivals or this stuff is over. They obviously don't want to go through with it, but she tells them to line up. Now, who remembers this thing as a kid at recess, being hand selected to go on a team? To me, it's nostalgic. I wasn't always the first kid to be picked, and I wasn't always the last kid to be picked. I was more in the middle, but just attention on where you're gonna go. And I love how the writers and the artists created this, where every kid in black and white is black and white, but the one kid in color is the kid gonna be selected. So like, just like this sex castle right here, they take the handsome boy in the beginning as he's clearly in color, and every other kid is not in color, you know? So after everyone is selected, Prufrock, Alabama, Mallory, all the kids are left, and that's it. The boys in blue is like, the carnival's over. Mallory's like, well, what about the rest of us? And the boy in blue is like, well, you guys are basically grown up now. I can't stick you with some family and just have you leave in a few months. So we're gonna take all of you in, all of you. Well, almost all of you. And then the boys in blue continue their agreement, or they continue their speech as per our agreement, Alabama, for the crimes you committed against the families and against the strangers. Because remember, Prufrock killed the stranger, but he didn't confess to that until the last issue. And even then, Alabama withheld that information, so Prufrock shot the gang in their own foot, so to speak. So Alabama was like, yeah, I get it, just sent me to death already. No, you are sentenced to life with the keepers. That is shocking to them. And Alabama was like, no, that's not what we agreed on. No, girl, you came to me and you said you'll take the punishment for your family if I can save their lives. And you didn't tell me about none of them killing the strangers. So because that information was withheld, you got to deal with life with the keepers. Lafayette goes off on these kids, and Alabama tells him, it's okay, I'll just take the punishment in stride. And Mallory's like, you can't go to the keepers, and it's like, it's too late, you know? So it's already done. The deal's been made, the deal's changed because I didn't tell him that information about Prufrock killing the strangers, but now that that's out, I gotta pay for these crimes. So now all of a sudden we get our biggest answer, where the heck is Meryl? And Meryl's in this truck with the carnival wheel on it and the dog on the roof. But this is just, what the freak? It makes no sense, but you know what? This is exactly what I love about this book. Very colorful action, very colorful dialogue. So Meryl pulls up, tells everyone to get on, and they all just make a run for it. Alabama has to stay back. Like, Prufrock is like, get on the bus with us, let's make a run for it. No, I can't go anywhere. I have to pay for what's been done. So it's a very touching moment, but where are the keepers and who are the keepers? So as they go off, this guy tells Mallory from issue number 4, like, hey baby, I love you, but I can't let you take my truck. Keith, you are handsome, but I'm sorry, it was just never meant to be. My name's Cliff, as he falls off. So Lafayette goes off, he, slows him down. This grappling hook goes on the bus and gets Oberon and drags him back. And then everyone tries to make a run for it. They're making a run for it. Mallory wants to go back, and Prufrock's like, no, they've all made their decisions. We made ours. We got to go. That's just awesome. So we get more of an idea what they're going to do with Prufrock and the other kids, and the dialogue between the boys in blue and this clown. Even though they know each other, they know the rules of the game, it's just all posturing how they deal with each other just to make it look like, hey, respect my authority, you know what I mean? They each got pull, but they each got different, unique kind of pull, you know? So they end it with the boys in blue is like, okay, so what are you gonna do with these kids? I don't know, leave them, the Wild can have them. So now we're getting introduced to some new gangs, the Wild and the Keepers. And also they have a way of communicating if he ever needs the carnival to happen again to shoot up the torches. Oh man, this is gonna be exciting. So there's going to be some meat on the bone I'm going to leave with this issue. I'm going to just end it with, hey, obviously Prufrock is still on the hunt for Sid. We do get to find out where Sid's at, so to speak. Oberon gets dropped off in the woods, and we don't know what's in the woods. Lafayette and Alabama, they get introduced to the Keepers, and they're warned by the boy in blue, everybody, we're here, no messing around. The Keepers don't like jokes or things they don't understand or people. It's going to be okay, says Alabama to Lafayette. And they get introduced to the Keepers, which is the grown-ups. I thought throughout this whole duration of the story, there are absolutely no grown-ups. I personally thought the strangers were the grown-ups. I still don't know, but there's still something eerie about them. And so they get introduced to the Keepers. It's just very odd, and it's at a zoo, and that's it right there. So Oberon's in the woods and getting introduced to the wild. Everyone else just keeps driving, and we end with Sid getting operated on with this pregnancy that she's had, or delivering a baby, but we just don't know her exact location. And that's where we end What's the Furthest Place From Here, issue number 6, and the first story arc of What's the Furthest Place From Here. I absolutely love it. Right when you think you have the world kind of figured out, they introduce a few conceptual hand grenades. Adoption. I mean, kids adopting kids, what can go wrong? The selection process takes place like it's on the playground PE, you know? I remember that. I was that kid that was picked in the middle. Very couple times I was picked last, but don't judge me for that, internet. It tells us more about the families that are adopting the kids and the kids themselves. The boys in blue in the carnival fight over jurisdiction issues. It's a weird kind of local law versus FBI relationship. The carnival seems to act in the name of the strangers. They travel, meeting out, serving out justice. Their destinations are top secret. And the boys in blue seem to only be concerned with the families in the immediate area. The keepers are a mystery. We know they serve as a function though. We know they're not volunteers. We know that the sentence to join the keepers is for life, and their number eventually age into adulthood. It's almost like the Night's Watch kind of Games of Thrones types of organization. And from what I understand, I hope issue 7 and further issues should tell us a story how we got into this world that they're in. But I dug the book. Link in description if you guys wish to add this comic book or any of the comic books in your comic book collection. With that being said, What's the Furthest Place From Here, issue number 6. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And also, if you like the content we're throwing up, you know what to do. Don't be shy and don't be stingy. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. Don't forget to check us out on our other social media platforms, Instagram and TikTok. Also on Whatnot, where we do awesome comic book auctions, giveaways, and auctions and bids. We get comic books at bargain prices, amazing value at our auction site. Link in description if you wish to check us out on that, where you can bookmark us and check us out on our live. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.